Now, I hear a lot when I talk to my Long Beach fellows about the streets that the Insanes were probably the most active at that time in the 80s. Is that just is there a lot of truth to that, or is that just maybe biases from some people?
No. It was truth. Insanes was mostly active because Insanes was, you know, and no disrespect to them, was a little rough around the collar. They was more of jackers than anything. Snatching chains, you know what I mean? Purses, whatever. It didn't matter, but they was I wouldn't say they was feared, but when you saw Insanes, they rolled in packs. And you gonna get packed out. Trust me on that. So they was kind of feared, you know what I mean? I mean, you know, anybody can say they wasn't scared or wasn't, but when you seen them cats come, you know what I mean? You know you had to either do what you got to do. What's up, BJ? Do what you had to do or keep it moving. You know what I mean?
Just talk about the rest of your high school years. You end up graduating from Poly?
I didn't. I ended up graduating from. I ended up graduating from Reed. So Reed was a hub that if you couldn't make it in high school, it's like a continuation school, and that's where all the pregnant girls went, you know, and that was like a melting pot of everybody, you know. Even some LA gangs was at Reed, you know. So when I finished Reed, I ended up working for the school board, and still out here gang banging. Dope, cocaine was fully engulfed. This was in '83. Cocaine was just hitting the scene, so it was huge, you know. We didn't know nothing about it, man, and everybody was pretty much on cocaine or selling it or doing it. It ruined the neighborhood badly. But it stopped a lot of gangbanging too. So, because when the dope came to the scene, cats was about their money. They wasn't trying to, you know, you had to get money from the Eastside or you had to get money from the Westside or Northside. Didn't matter. You had to be neutral.
Now, we didn't really talk about the Northside yet, but the Northside has a handful of neighborhoods there. Old Hood, Brick Boy. Were some of these neighborhoods out in the late 70s, or it wasn't until the 80s you started to hear about them?
About early 80s and late 80s, because Boulevard was around. Because Boulevard was kind of in close with the westbound. So Boulevard used to come to the neighborhood. They used to hang out with us here at the park. So the Boulevard was around. Heard about the Boulevards in around 1980, 10th grade, and Four Corner Block also was around. Old Hood, I didn't hear about Old Hood until later on in the 80s, but there was all those Four Corner Block, Boulevards, Old Hoods was advocates of ours. Like we were kind of in tune with some of them cats for whatever reason, you know, because everybody was against the East Side pretty much at that time.
Now, when did you hear about the Brick Boys and the Carmelito projects?
Brick Boys been around forever. Brick Boys are a mixture of everything. Niggas from Tennessee, Texas, Compton, LA. If you lived there, no matter what gang you was from, you was still Brick Boys. You can be from Insane and still be part of Big Brick Boys. I know a lot of Insanes that came out of there, and Rolling 20s that came out of there, out the Brick Boys.
But then at some point they became their own Crip set, right?
Yeah. Brick Boys became their own Crip set, but they wasn't really that. I mean, they wasn't really that outskirt kind of gang. Like, if you went in there, you know what I mean? You had to just be careful. But you ain't really seen no Brick Boys in the hood like somewhere else, claiming Brick Boys like that. But if you went through Carmelitas, you better believe you're gonna catch something.
Have you ever heard of Mac Mafias?
I heard of Mac Mafia.
They're more of a newer thing. or
Mac Mafia's they've been around. I think Mac Mafia came from like a small young, almost like a young insane gang kind of that moved to North Long Beach that I kind of remember how Mac Mafia was, because I remember some little cat that was from Mac Mafia that used to claim insane, that was one of the original Mac Mafias. And so I don't really know. Mac Mafia just kind of sprouted, and how they got known is because they didn't like the Eastside.
Now you mentioned like some white gangs from the 70s when you was young. Were any of those white gangs on the west side, or were they mostly on the east side?
It was on the west side, Westside Stoners. Okay. And there was more like, it was Westside Stoners and Westside Islanders. Islanders was more of like a like a Hawaiian type gang. Just laid back, cool, you know what I mean? Not really a gang, just more like a club kind of.
But eventually all the whites kind of disappeared?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, when we get to the 80s and the little conflict is occurring between the west side and the east side, you being a guy that knows some of these guys on the east side personally, how did you feel like, you know, I know these guys because they used to be some of them was on the west side.
Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Feel free to comment below so you can give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related episodes to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description, and thanks for watching StreetTV.net.